In this video, I'll show you how to construct a part using the Revolve tool. And this part's in inches. Start a sketch, choose a plane. I'll use my profile tool. Now this part's going to have a hole through the middle vertically, so I'm going to offset it from the origin. Don't worry too much about where it is in relation to the origin. We can put a dimension on that as we go. Oops, see, messed that up, so I'll just change that angle. Okay, I build it with the dimensions as I sketch it. Obviously, you don't have to do it that way. You can kind of freehand it and come back and put the dimensions on. Now, I do want to control where I am in relation to the origin. I want this to be, oops, that's not the dimension actually. I'm going to put my own dimension. I want to go from here to there. I'm going to set that as 2 inches. Not 2 inches. 2.5 inches. There we go. So that'll give us that offset between there. Now, as far as where it's located, up and down, I can just make that, if I want to line that up, I can just make that a 0. That'll line up with that point. Honestly, it really doesn't matter in this case. Everything is constrained. We're fine. Now, I'm going to put some fillets on, but I'll do those later after I've already revolved it. So I'm going to finish my sketch here. And I'm going to leave this on because I'm going to use that to revolve around. So I'll go to the Revolve tool. Now, 2 things you have to do. One is select the curve, which it's already done that for us. Again, that's the closed shape. And then I have to specify the vector. See the green check mark? That's the next thing. So the vector is going to be this axis right here because, again, I want to revolve it so it has a hole around it. And lastly, you have to pick a point on that axis. So I can just pick that origin or whatever, and you'll see it created the revolve around there. I can turn my sketch off if I want to hide that. And now I can come in and add fillets. For example, I want to fillet these corners here. They should have 1/4 inch. Yep, that inside right there. Okay. And there's my part. Again, if you want to see that sketch, that was my sketch. I had to leave a space there in order to, so that when it revolves around that axis, it would leave a hole in the part. Obviously, there's more than one way to create this part, but that's the way I chose it. Now I'm going to turn off my datum coordinate system. I'll save that. Let's just put a name on it. Okay, let's go to our application. Let's put that on a drawing sheet. We'll put it on the B size. Just close these because I'm going to use my view creation wizard. And that's the right part. Let's say next. I want to turn on my hidden lines. Next. And let's look at views. That's not really a very good front view. That's a much better front view. Show the most information. And I've already got my 4 views selected, so I'll finish that. Scale looks good and everything. So a couple things we need to do to clean this up. One is let's turn off these tangent lines, right? That's just a tangent line. Those are tangent lines. So double click on that. go to where it says smooth edges and uncheck that. It'll turn off the tangent lines. Same thing, double click, smooth edges. Sometimes the tangent lines are helpful. Usually they're not. And then on this view, I'm going to leave my tangent lines on, but I need to get rid of those hidden lines. Turn off the self-hidden, say okay. Now in that case, the tangent lines can help tell the story about what that part looks like. On these other views, it just creates confusion, I believe. So let's go ahead and dimension this part. Remember, we're with ISO dimensions, so it's just what we got to work with. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to need these depths. There. And I'll do the overall. Always want an overall dimension on the part. What's the maximum diameter, maximum width, maximum length, etc. Now I can't do anything with all these interior parts because they're hidden lines in this view and this view. So I think the smart move here, one thing I'll do before I forget is let me call it the radius dimension there. And I'm going to add, should have caught it, put a TYP on that. Let's just get rid of this view. Let's replace it with a section view. So up here to section view, and you'll see it'll have the section plane lines right there. So that's easy enough. Just click on that center point, drag your cursor up, and that'll create the section view for you. So it's easy enough. Now let's watch where our dimension lines go. So now I got a perfect place to call out, for example, the depth of that. And what else? I actually need the diameter. Oops, try that again. That's not, I don't know, that's not great looking, but it'll work. Let's see, I think we have everything else taken care of. One thing we want to do is, this is a linear dimension, but that's a diameter. Oh, we do need that angle right there, sorry. Got excited about that. So let's see what we do. Now, if that angular thing isn't showing up, you can turn it on. So the angular, just by putting a check mark next to it. So maybe what we can do is do it off of this center line here. Now, that's just a function of those diameters. And I guess the reality is I don't have to have that on there because you can develop it from the diameters and everything else. But I think I'm going to leave it on there for good information. Now I need a diameter symbol on this. So let's double click on that. Let's see. No, you don't double click. You right click, go to settings. So it says text. You're going to look at format and then put a check mark. So if that's not open, just click on text, format, and put a check where it says override dimension text and just say, okay, that's fine. And what we need to do is add that diameter symbol. So click on this little A, it'll show you some symbols. And I want to put the diameter symbol and then 4.5 and say, okay, and close. So that's how you do that. Again, right click, settings, format, override, click on the A, it'll get your symbols, and then you can add that. So, because otherwise it looks like it's a linear dimension. It's not, it's calling out that inside diameter right there. So I think that takes care of that drawing with the exception of filling out the title block. But, oh, let's delete that. If those crazy center marks are showing up, see if you can delete them. I think you can. Okay, so that's how I use the Revolve tool. Oops, go back to my model. That's how you use the Revolve tool to create the model. how you're going to put it on a drawing sheet, and I also showed you how to create a section view.